Hello and welcome to Blood Bowl. My name's Lumin and right now this is actually my first video of the game. First proper video at least. And this is just going to be a quick introduction to the league itself. I know Krendor released his own introduction with our little intro segments. And he actually spoke about the first week, the matchups that are coming up. And he gave his own predictions based on his extensive experience with the game, so I guess it just makes sense for me to give my predictions. But what I'm going to do is I'm mostly just going to say how I feel I will do against some of the other teams out there. I don't think I'd be able to predict who's going to win against who, so I'm not even going to bother. I'm not going to do that, but if you want to see who's playing against who in the first week, if you want to see those first matchups, I will link Krendor's video somewhere within this video, so you can do that. But in this video, you get in my point of view, you get in my opinions, my thoughts on some of the other teams, and so on and so forth. And I can't wait. I can't wait to play my first match against Total Biscuit. I'm sure all of you now know that it is in fact against him. It's gonna be a little bit cray. That's all I'm saying right now, but whew. Let's have a look at those teams. So this is it. It's a league for those with ADD, which is kind of on the verge of being 100% correct. Now, one match has already been played. The Brussels Stouts beat Rule Britannia 1-0, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm not sure why it hasn't updated here. Maybe Krendor still needs to just approve it, and then it'll properly reflect up in here. But we're going to start with my team, Tales of Rats, because, well, I am recording this video and I'd like to talk about myself first. Then it'll also just help you guys understand my thoughts on some of the other teams and how well or badly I'll do against them. Now, I will also just mention I've played probably about 10 games of Blood Bowl, maybe a few more, maybe a few less in total, and I still need a whole lot more practice before I'd consider myself good at the game. But I think I'm doing okay, and I think I got a reasonable understanding of how everything works in the game, how things are worked out with a dice roll system, and all that other good stuff. So I fancy my chances rather good going into this. I'm not sure if I see myself getting a top 4 in the group stages here, but hey, it's a possibility. And if I practice a whole lot more, maybe it's a strong possibility. But Tales of Rats, the most amazing team ever. I love the logo that I chose. That rat just looks so angry. And, well, handsome at the same time. But there he is. Chose my favorite color, yellow. And my team consists of a rat ogre, 2 storm vermin. And the rat ogre is basically just a really big guy, super strong. He stands right in the middle, right at the start. And he just bashes people's skulls in. But he does have these 2 skills which are highlighted in yellow, which kind of make him a little bit unpredictable. So because of these 2, sometimes he just won't listen to the orders you give him. But I think that the good outweighs the bad in the Rat Ogre's case. And that's why I took him. A lot of Skaven players and a lot of Skaven teams are created without the Rat Ogres because their strength lies in their speed and their agility. But I like my Rat Ogre. I really do. And the name of the Rat Ogre is Hele. That's short for Helene. She wanted to be the big buff one, so I gave her her wish. There she is, on the front lines. Now, Storm Vermin or Lumin Mick. That's short for Lumin. And yes, I'm spoiling it all now. I apologize, but I want you guys to understand what these names are, and I want you to be in on it. Because some of these may seem like inside jokes, but they're not. These are famous rodents, for the most part. I'm not a famous rodent, but my nickname is there. Loom, short for Lumin, Storm Vermin. Storm Vermin are also kind of powerhouses. They got the block skill, they got a decent amount of strength. I'm not sure if 3 is considered like super high, but I mean, the Rat Ogre has 5, and that's probably the highest you get. I'm not sure if there are even 6s. We'll see when we get to the other teams, but 5 strength's a lot, 3 is a really good amount, and they've got a lot of armor, which is great, and a decent amount of movement speed. Their agility is also not that bad. They're just all-round strong frontline units. But they can also run really fast, which is pretty much the case for all the Skaven team. And the other one, Mick, pretty much exactly the same thing. Boo is my thrower, and I think you all know who Boo is from Baldur's Gate. He had to be in there. He had to. He's the thrower, and I only got one thrower because I feel like, for the most part, if you keep your thrower sort of back middle, he can get to the ball easy enough because of his high movement, and when he gets hold of it, he should be able to get it into the hands of one of the gutter runners, and I think that having two throwers would have been kind of a mistake. I mean, they are not great on the front lines. They're not bad, but I would much prefer, even though the stats are very similar, the Storm Vermin with block, or even the Linemen, because they're much cheaper. So one thrower was all I wanted, and I also needed to save a little bit for the extra rerolls down here. And that's the layout or the composition that I took. I went for 2 rerolls instead of the Apothecary, because the Apothecary apparently doesn't go up in price as the league continues, but the rerolls do. Now, some of the technical details and the specifics you guys will pick up as you watch the videos and stuff. It seems very complicated at first, but once you get the basics, it all makes sense and it's much more fun to watch. And with the 40-second turns, it's just going to be more fun by default. But there you go, 1 thrower. Then I got 4 gutter runners. They are Ner, Fi, Splin, and Itch. So Ner is Nero. He's actually got Nero's colors. So proud of that. Look. Brown and very dark brown on the verge of black. It's perfect. Absolutely perfect. And these guys are just super fast. You get the ball in their hands and they can pace across almost the entire field in one run, in one turn. They really know how to hoof it. They're amazing. They are considered by many the best units in all of Blood Bowl. So there you go. That alone is a reason to play Skaven. Fi, Fievel Mauskowitz from American Tail. Such a good movie. I loved American Tail. Splinter, Ninja Turtles, Itch from Itchy and Scratchy. You know who that is, right? Then, the Linemen. Briz, Rem, and Pink. Briz is Miss Brisby, Secret of Nim. Also such a good movie. Really, really good. Pink is Pinky from Pinky and the Brain. And Rem is Remy from Ratatouille. So that's the team. The Linemen are straight up standard default rat minions or Skaven minions. Some people say calling Skaven rats would be an insult. I don't know. I don't know too much about them. But the Linemen are decent, and I think that a lot of Skaven teams tend to draft more linemen, as far as I've seen at least, from the games that I've played, more linemen instead of, say, gutter runners or the rat ogre to get more rerolls. Because the more rerolls you have, the better. But, hey, I went with my gut on this one, and I chose the team that I felt like I could play with the style that I want to use when I'm playing. Which I haven't really developed very much over the course of 10 games, but I guess I'm confident enough. So here's the team. One more time. Here's the winning team. Look at Helene. So buff. So buff. I like them. They all look so keen to get started. Now, I'm going to show you some of the other teams, and we're going to go through them semi-quickly. I'm not going to rush through them, but we're not going to spend that much time talking about each of the teams. I'll just tell you what I think about their setup, which is going to be super embarrassing because I don't know how good or bad they are, but I can at least tell you what I think. Because, hey, you're here to watch me play, so there we go. Now, Total Biscuit's names are just amazing. He's got Creed, Folklore, Trustworthy, Reasonable, Above Board, Entirely Legal, Jesse Dodger, Screeching Let's Player, Putty Squad, Ang Badang, I said that wrong, Google Plus, Toby Turner, and Scarecam. It's amazing. He's got such good names here. And apparently, the Goblin team is just straight up crazy. I'm not going to go through each and every single one of these positions that they play, but they all kitted out with weapons and stuff. Well, not all of them, but the Bombardier, the Loony, the Pogoer, and the Fanatic, they all have these crazy... Look, this guy's got a big ball and chain. These crazy weapons that could potentially either kill themselves or kill my players real quick. So it's kind of scary playing against a team like this in the very first round, because when you are playing in a league, then if a player dies in your first matchup, they dead for the rest of the league. You gotta buy a replacement or play with less players. It's scary. It is straight up scary, and because he's got these 4 with weapons and tools and stuff, it is just gonna be that much more tense playing against Total Biscuit first. The trolls are kind of cool. They're really big, really strong, but they got a whole lot of disadvantages. Like a whole lot. And, for the most part, you can see that my movement speed, that's the MA, movement allowed, is much higher than his, and pretty much all the other teams out there. So, I don't know how I'm going to go about the first match. I just actually have no idea, but I'm thinking I'm going to want to stay away from all the weapon-bearing goblins, and I guess use my heavy hitters to try and take some of his minions down while trying to find a gap. Because I think a lot of his plays will backfire on him just because of the nature of his team, and that's just all I can really say. I don't know why he's even got an apothecary, because he should just expect losses. And if they happen, who the heck cares? The first to get a red card, I'll take him off immediately. Okay, but that's Total Biscuit's team. That is the team I'm playing against first, and I'm terrified because I may well lose most of my players against these guys. Look at that. Just look, they are terrifying. Bomb, pogo stick, chainsaw, and ball and chain. What the heck? And you can see he bought a couple of extra players here as well. Now, we're just going to start at the top and go down. The Brussels... Ooh, hold on. What have I done? There we go. No, that's still wrong. I've just broken it now. Let's just click on groups. There, we're going to start with Funny Farm. This is Knur's team. And he's playing vampires. So let's view them in 3D. I know absolutely nothing about the vampires, apart from the fact that these 3 guys back here are the ones that run the show. But there's always apparently the concern that they are bloodthirsty vampires, and they may well feast upon these thralls here. So these are all exactly the same, and those 3 are the same too, but they are super, super strong, the 3 vampires. Their stats are just really good. So I was on Funny Farm, let me show you. Like, really good. Movement 6, Strength 4, Agility 4, and Armor 8. That's solid. So he's just got the 3 vampires and a whole bunch of thralls. Now when I play against this team, I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to stay away from the vampires, or at least get my Rat Ogre and Storm Vermin close to them, and then just try and play around the sides. Depends on where he puts them, obviously. This guy knows a whole lot about the game, but what I will probably try to do is stay away from the vampires, because my movement allowance is high on most of my minions, and if someone needs to go close to them, if someone has to go close to them, it'll be the stronger ones. Because even my strong units or players are not that strong compared to these. So, you know, it's going to be crazy. Absolutely crazy. But the thralls, they're decent. I still think, however, I can play around them. And as you can see, the MA on this entire team is 6. Whereas I've got some with 9. So I guess if I can get the ball, I can try and make a run for it. And that's going to be, I guess, the name of the game going through this entire league. Let's look at the Brussels Stouts next. Brussels Stouts, rather. These guys look mean. Now, they won their first game against Rule Britannia. But look, that's scary. Absolutely scary. And if I'm not mistaken, this is a very bashy team. So Quill 18 is going to try. They got armor value of 9 all around. He's going to try and beat down on my smaller rats, and I'm just going to have to stay away. That's it. Right from the start, I'm going to have to start running and just I don't know if he does get a little cage, I think they call it, like a surround on his ball carrier, and I need to try and break through there, then I'm gonna have to like throw everything I've got at one corner of it and hope for the best. Or I'll just hope that with their low agility, they're gonna keep fumbling the ball and I'll be able to just pick it up somehow. But it's also gonna be really tough, and I'm the most scared of Total Biscuit's team and then the big strong teams like the Ogres and the Orcs. I'm less afraid of, say, Dodger's Half-Blings and Strippin's Wood Elves. I am still kind of, you know, petrified of going up against them because they are also kind of good at the game, but their teams are less daunting. Then the Dark Rainbows from Krendor, they are, I would say, one of the more interesting teams because they've got an interesting mix going with them. It's an Underworld team and it consists of all sorts, really. I mean, he's got Skaven in here, he's got a big troll, he's got some goblins, or what are these? Are they goblins? Dark Rainbows. Underworld goblins. But then he's got Skaven throwers and Skaven linemen as well. So he's got a pretty mobile team, and I would say their stats, for the most part, are well-rounded. I would say I'd have a really good game against someone like Krendor, just because of the good balance in his team. I mean, it's not super fast or agile, but it's also not super buff or meaty, so it'll be fun to play against. Then, and my sack is Northern Lions team, and you gotta see these guys. Just have a look. It's kind of scary. Super scary. I actually mistook his team for ogres, but he's playing dwarves, and they are just the buffest of buff. Armor value 8 and 9, all round, nice amounts of strength. Not great on the agility side, and also not great for movement, but they have some seriously good passives going around here. They've all got block, thick skull, tackle, frenzy, dauntless, all these different ones that make them very hard to deal with when you get up close. And I think that's the one tip that Krendor gave me when it comes to playing against teams like this, is don't get up close. Just don't. Because if you've got a bunch of blockers with movement allowance 4, you can kind of easily run away from them and stay away from them the whole time. So that's what's going to happen when I play against him. And I'm excited about that. I really am, because that's going to be an interesting style of play. And I want to get some more practice in before I get my first couple of games out of the way in the league, so that I can at least say I've played against each and every one of those races. But next is Would Not Bang from Strippin, and these are Wood Elves. They are very attractive. Their war dances are very scary. These two with the mohawks at the back here. And the others, they are quite agile, they are quite fast, and much like, I'd say, the Amazons, I think it's the Amazons, they are so well-rounded. Every single one of them has 4 agility, which means they're not going to be fumbling around with the ball. They will pick the ball up, and they will move. It's scary. It really is. So I have no idea what I'm going to do against him. I think we're going to play very similar games, because for the most part, his strat is probably going to be much the same as mine, in that he's going to try and get the ball and make a run for it, or pull a sick play off like a long-range pass or something like that. I don't know. I've not played enough of this game to know that kind of thing. Rule Britannia, they're a fun-looking team. Let me show you here. And I love the color and everything. Look at that. That is a straight-up, proper rugby or American football team. Look at them. I don't even know what the differences are between these guys. Let's have a look. Lots of linemen, a couple of blitzers, a catcher, and a thrower. Again, seems like a very well-rounded team. I have no idea how I would approach this. They got 3 rerolls and an apothecary. Wow. I don't know. And the pilot of that team is Stylosa. Then we've had a look at the Mad Bombers. The Half-Blings, they're an interesting bunch. Now, I think the way she set this team up, she's going to have 3 tree men and a whole bunch of halflings, which is scary because I've played against the tree men before, and firstly, look how tall they are. Wow. That is... What? That didn't even fit in the shot here. But they're very scary because they are super, super buff and staunch, and when they get close to your players, it's just... wow. It's difficult to deal with. And look at these little guys. They're a funny bunch, aren't they? But what happens here is the little guys, they can be thrown by the big guys. They got the right stuff here. They can be thrown, and that's crazy because she can reposition them so easily if she gets them in range of the tree men and just like tosses them across the field. So that kind of negates your defense entirely. So she can throw a halfling across past my front line and then toss the ball over there with that halfling. What the heck? What am I going to do to that? It's kind of scary to think about. It really is. So I think she kept her team value low on purpose so that she could buy a 3rd star player Treeman when she starts the game up against pretty much everyone. Then the final team here is Force. He's got Dog and Bone, and it's also once again just a really well balanced team, but he is gonna suffer a bit when it comes to picking up the ball, it seems. A bunch of zombies, Zomb A through E. I like the names, I really do. He's got a ghoul, a white, a werewolf, and a werewolf. These guys look kind of scary. Let's look at the team in 3D. Wow. They do look scary. And kind of buff too. It's got the white hand as a logo. And I don't know what to say. I've never played against this kind of team before, but that's it. Those are all the teams in there. I know you guys knew all of this already, but I thought I'd just run it by you anyway. Another thing I want to mention before I end this off, and I'm going to put a little overlay up, show you guys what I'm actually talking about, but there was a straw poll set up recently. A poll with all the teams and the players playing them, and the people were allowed to vote on who they thought would be most likely to win the league itself. Now, at number 1, there's Krendor with Underworld. At number 2, there's Knur with the Vampires. Now, I think he would have probably been at number 1 if he wasn't playing the Vampires, which is probably one of the most difficult teams to play. At least, so I've been told. At number 3, there's Total Biscuit. At number 4, there's Dodger. And at number 5, there's the one and only Tales of Lumin, playing the Skaven team Tales of Rats. So I'm super happy to see that most people thought I had the right stuff. You know, I'm in the top 5. May well be the top 5 out of 10, but whatever. I'm in the top 50%. So thank you. Thank you for everyone that voted for me. Then after me at number 6, there's Quill 18 with the Orcs. Then at number 7, there's Northern Lion. Number 8, Stylosa. Number 9, Strippin, which, wow. I just don't think he should be all the way down there. And at number 10, Force. Force is good at games. I don't know why he's at number 10, but what the heck ever. I don't know how I would organize them myself, but there you go. That's what 500 different people thought. And it was interesting for me to check through that. It really was. Now, for my first game against Total Biscuit, I don't know if I'm going to, if I win it, win by a large margin. I do see there being some losses, which is going to be super sad because I'm not sure I'm going to be able to replenish them immediately. But Krendor gave me a 1-0 win in his prediction. I see the same. I honestly see the same, and I only just say that because I think Total Biscuit's going to get unlucky and his stuff's going to backfire on him, and I'm saying that now because I want it to happen. I see that as being my ticket to victory. But there you go. I am absolutely done talking now. I can't wait to play my first game. It's going to be within the next week or so, and the videos will go up on both my channel and Total Biscuit's channel. If you want to know more about the league itself, then you can check the links below or check the annotation on the screen or whatever. You could even just head on over to youtube.com/wowkrendor. That'll work too. Then you can check back here soon for more. Give this video a like, share it, and do all that other good stuff. Most importantly though, happy Blood Bowl League. Happy that.